Last section, writing linear equations given a point and a slope. This is very important because later in the year we are going to do stuff like this that may not necessarily be linear, or it might be and it adds to something else. This is also a good SAT point slope form. So to write a linear equation given the slope of a line and a point that passes through it, x comma y, use the point slope formula. So now it took me years to notice this. Point slope form is used when you're given a slope and a point. Seems very obvious, but sometimes we just don't think about it like that. And then also, what other form do we know? Slope intercept form we use when we know the slope and we know the intercept. So here, do we necessarily need to know the intercept? No, we can just know any random point that doesn't have to be an intercept. It can just be a random point. So for the example number 1, negative 1, 7 is the point and m is the slope. So I don't need to put it, it wouldn't go in right for b because b is specifically a y-intercept. This is not. This is a random point. So the formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we're going to plug that in where y1 and x1, as they tell you here, are the coordinates. X and y just stay x and y like in any other equation. And then you know m is the slope. So y minus my y coordinate, which is 7, equals m times x minus my x coordinate, which happens to be negative 1. So that's going to be y minus 7 equals negative 4x plus 1. And they don't necessarily tell you what form to put it in, so this would be point slope form if they asked you to put it in point slope form. And then in the next section, we're going to see what it looks like to switch it to slope intercept form. So here, this is what it would look like if you were to leave it in point slope form. In this one, we'll do y minus my y coordinate equals m times x minus my x coordinate. And those double negatives will turn to positive. And that would be, again, point slope form. When you're given a point and a slope. So let's look at writing linear equations given 2 points using the point slope formula. So when you're given 2 points, the only thing that you can really do is to find the slope between these two. It would be hard to write an equation right from points because I don't know too much, but you can find the slope between 2 points using m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And now that you have a slope and a point, 2 of them actually, but you have a point and a slope, then you can use point slope form. So let's try that. Step 1 would be to use the slope formula. And step 2 to use point slope form. So let's first find the slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus negative 6 is going to make plus 6. So we get 6 over 3, which is 2. So now I have a slope of 2, which is great information because I'm given 2 points and a slope. So just pick one point. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to pick the first one. Y minus 1 equals 2, x minus negative 6, which makes plus 6. So that's using point slope form with the slope that we just found. And that's it. You could also change that to slope intercept form if you wanted to by distributing 2 and then adding 1 to both sides. And that would be y equals 2x plus 13. Okay, number 4. Find the slope which is 10 over negative 4, which gives me 5 over 2, negative 5 over 2. And then we'll put that into point slope form. Y minus -2, either y value doesn't matter as long as you stay consistent, equals -5/2 my slope, x minus -2. And again, in point slope form, you could leave it just like that, or since this is a fraction, I'll do this one for you as well. We're going to distribute -5/2 to be y plus 2 equals -5/2, and we do that little fraction math on the side, -5/2 times 2, the 2's cancel, and I'm just left with -5. And then subtract 2 from both sides. And that would be y equals -5/2x minus 7. So you could leave it in either form, but it depends on the directions. If they say write it in point slope form, write it in point slope form. If they say write it in slope intercept form, you might have to do point slope form first, but then give the answer in slope intercept form. Okay, I'm going to leave number 5 and number 6 for you. And let's look at the linear applications. Write an equation to represent the cab fare. Define your variables. A cab ride costs $4 plus $1.75 per mile driven. So we're thinking about two things being added, and your job is to think about which one of these is going to have a variable. For the most part, anytime it's per mile, per year, per dollar, that's when you're multiplying by a variable. So if we think about fact that they tell us in slope intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, the term with the variable is going to be per mile, and the term without the variable is going to be your y-intercept, $4. You pay for one time. So your y-intercept is always whatever you pay one time, a starting fee, and then your slope is what you've paid multiple times because it's changing every time.